when it comes down to DC, a lot of these folks need to understand this. It is not for them to gatekeep. All right. DC is for all of us. We have to talk about the recent events of Zack Snyder sharing photos from his DC universe. Now, as you know, about 3 or 4 days ago, Zack Snyder decided to share a photo of Henry Cavill. And many of us, we was excited to see that photo. And also, it came with some speculation, right? We all had our own thing that we thought could possibly be going on, right? But I noticed that a certain few are aggravated by the post. And I am trying to figure out, why is anyone upset that Zack Snyder is posting photos of his DC Universe characters? I'm trying to figure that out. It's almost like these people are trying to label everyone else as being toxic, but at the same time, they're the most toxic people who are related to this fan base. And let me tell you why. For one, they do not want you to fan. This has been a problem since Zack Snyder ever touched that of DC, right? Zack, he brought forth his own version of these characters, and many people were totally upset about Zack Snyder and his version of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, so on and so forth, right? And most of us was trying to enjoy what Zack Snyder was bringing to the table, and they were telling us that we were delusional, we are not true DC fans. What else can I say? Stupid, what else? Crazy, idiotic. You know, we got called all types of names solely because we wanted to enjoy a version of DC that many people out there may have not liked. Now, when Zack posts these photos, maybe they need to understand that Zack is not posting these photos for them. He's posting these photos for those out there who enjoyed his story, okay, enjoyed his variation of the DC universe. And I don't know why those people out there who doesn't like Zack Snyder can't seem to understand that. I have seen so many people dog all over this guy simply because he has decided to post those photos. What is up with these people? Why is it a problem that Zack Snyder is reminding us of what was great? Why is there a problem with Zack Snyder showing us what the true DC cinematic universe is supposed to look like? Why is that such a problem? Why can't you guys not allow us to have some things? I mean, it's not going to hurt if an Instagram post is being out there in the wild, right? If people are liking it, if people are talking about it, if people are saying, listen, this is what we want from DC. Why is that a problem? Why have you decided to lose your goddamn minds over Zack Snyder posting photos of Henry Cavill? See, in my opinion, I feel that many of these people, they're scared. That's right. They're scared that something is going to happen that they don't want to happen. Now, look, I'm not saying that the Snyderverse is going to be restored, but to some of these people, Snyder lingering around like that is quite disturbing because they know that Snyder has a bigger fan base than what DC has at this very moment. See, I see right through these mutant monkeys. I see right through them because I have sat back for quite some time and I have read the room in regards to how these people put forth their talking points, right? Like my man Slab Free Talk, right? I watched this video. He's trying to debunk Peacemaker's, Nelson's ratings, and Samba TV ratings. And I'm like, why? Why are you attempting to debunk facts? Why is it so hard to accept that James Gunn's DC universe isn't what you wanted it to be when it comes down to reception. Why is that so hard? I see you, Sergeant. I'm going to get you in here. I just want to address these mutant monkeys right quick. When it comes down to DC, a lot of these folks need to understand this. It is not for them to gatekeep. All right. DC is for all of us. There's a reason why 52 universes exist. And it is because the people who owns DC, well, used to own DC, understood that you may not be able to satisfy everyone. All right. This has been a running problem with DC for quite some time. It is hard for DC to satisfy us all. Look at James Gunn's DC universe. Most of us are saying, listen, we do not want this childish BS. When it comes down to Zack Snyder's DC universe, some of you are saying that you were not on board with what Zack Snyder was doing with that of DC. See, it is hard being a DC fan. And I'm talking for both sides here. Yeah, a lot of times, many of us do not get what we want. All right, we don't get what we want. And other times, we get what we want. However, others don't. Thus, the fandom is factious, right? It is divided 4 different parts. All right. As fans, I understand it's hard for us to come together because we constantly are at each other's necks. And I would say this, when it comes down to that, we have a lot of people out there who would not let fans be fans. All right. When it comes down to the 4KO, a lot of times I do not attack other people's opinion. I mentioned Slab earlier because I do find it quite delusional that my man is over there doing mental gymnastics, right, in order to make Peacemaker's reception and its viewership sense, in order to make it make sense, right? And it's hard to do that when we have the numbers, when we have the facts, when we are able to pull up the data and prove that something is not successful. All right, it is okay. All we have to do as fans is allow each other to just be what we want to be. If you want to be a Snyder cultist, cool. You want to be a gun cultist, cool. But all of the attacks, it needs to stop regarding that of DC, especially the attacks on Zack Snyder. Understand, Zack was successful. All right. What DC wished it had at this very moment, Zack Snyder accomplished it in 2013 and 2016. All right. So if you want to say Zack Snyder's direction was wrong, cool. But you need to accept that Zack was more successful than what is being presented to us at this very moment. That is facts.